So it's important to understand that we're all going to make mistakes. That's a natural part of learning and doing something you've never done before. You're going to make mistakes, and hopefully you are knowledgeable enough and I guess self-aware enough to realize that you're making mistakes, not shift the blame other places, and learn from them. I like to think that my job as a trading coach, a trading mentor, just a veteran, old head in this game, and a voice that people listen to, is to share what my mistakes were and share the mistakes that I see from the hundreds of thousands of traders that I've worked with over the years, so that you don't have to make the same ones, or at least you can learn from them quickly. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. We're going to talk about a very common yet very dangerous mistakes that traders make at a point in the process before they start trading live, but will have a massive effect on when they start trading live. I was guilty of that. Of like, as soon as I got into a big drawdown, I would find a reason to not take that next trade. I'd be so frustrated with like the previous losers. I'd be like, you know what? It just hit the target. Or just hit the entry. I probably wouldn't have been filled. Or whatever, or like, I know I would have been stopped out for break even. Yeah, certainly. I would have gotten out at break even before it went back down. Yeah. And but then I shifted my mind to, and Darren taught me this, the goal for me at backtesting, I want to find as many losers as possible. I want to find as many losers, because, I guess, so when we're backtesting, we have, there's two things we can think about. And I think it shifts as you cross like a maturity threshold in trading. When you are a newer trader, you have nothing that works. You're trying to get something that works. There's much more urgency to find a successful strategy, right? Would you guys agree? When you are a newer trader and you're not trading live, you're not producing income from your trading, there's this urgency to become successful. Because like this is like your job interview. This is your way of printing money. This is your start. So deep down, because we have that desire, that need, we kind of rush through the process in different ways. We rush through the process as far as rushing through courses. We rush through the process like I spoke about yesterday, where it's like maybe we pick a strategy that we don't really connect with, but it makes that money, baby, right? So we do it, right? We rush through back testing, right? I used to rush through my demo trading period, right? I told you guys a story of this before, right? I would always tell myself, Akil, you're going to demo trade for 3 months. You're going to work out all the bugs in analyzing the market and getting orders in on time, and putting the correct order on, because I had an issue with like buy stops and sell stops and limits and targets. They were all confusing to me. I didn't know which to put on. So many times I would be in like an opposite direction, because I'd be like a buy stop and I'd be longish. I'm like, how? That was a stop loss, but it was below the, and I'm like, whatever. So I had all these things I wanted to get comfortable with. My preseason, right? Sports reference. My preseason. And then I would have like that first week of demo trading, and I'd make some money, and I'd be like, let's put the live money in, right? And I'd rush through it, and of course I'd blow all the live money because I was still doing the dumb stuff that I never ironed out. And then I'd be like, okay, we're to start over. We're going to demo trade for 3 months, Akil, starting today. I always start on the first of a month because that's what we do, right? March 1st, we're doing it. And it would be all good until like March 6th. And it'd be like, I'm live trading again, right? I'm losing all this. I'm missing this opportunity to make real money while making all this demo money. And I'd go back to, So you rush through the process. And one of the reasons we rush is because we have this goal, this desire that we want to be met. And we want to get there as fast as possible, right? It's different when you get a little bit more mature as a trader. And maturity comes from a few things. Maturity comes from, one, you just lose so much money that you're defeated and tired of doing dumb stuff, like my hands in the air. Me. Who's done that? Me, right? So enough is enough. You experience enough pain that you start changing your behavior, right? It's the same thing like one of my best friends had a emergency surgery about 2 years ago. 4 years ago. It was right around COVID. And he's a bigger dude, not the super healthiest dude, like has never cooked his own meal. So he's living off of like microwave meals, like the typical like American like bad stuff that's killing your heart. And he had to have this emergency surgery, and the doctors are pretty much telling him like, hey, look, you got to change stuff up or you're going to die, buddy. And he's my age. I think he's 39. He's a little bit older than me. He's like, you're going to die. This was him at 35. And he kept it secret. I remember he didn't tell much people about the surgery or the details of it. And I remember I took him out to eat, and you know, we're ordering these. He's a big dude. We like to eat, and he's ordering this big meal, and he's like, "Nah, I can't eat all that." I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we've been friends since like early teenage years. Like, what do you mean you can't eat? Like, I know you, buddy. You can eat. He's like, "Nah, I can't do it anymore." And then he explained the whole situation, and then there was so much fear from the situation that he put himself in, where a doctor literally told him he might die if he keeps it up, that it caused him to change his habits. And he's eating healthy now, looking good too. He's a handsome man. He's single. Ladies, he's single, right? But it was that much pain that made him change. And that was me in trading, where I did the dumb demo stuff for so long that I looked at my account and I was no longer able to like replenish it the way I wanted to. I was losing money, bleeding it profusely. And I had to change. That's one way. Another way is once you become successful, and we spoke about this before too, once you become successful, then adding the next thing is less urgent, right? I worked so hard to get my first real estate property, and because I needed it to make money. But once I had the first one, there was less urgency in the second one, right? And the first one, the first one as a business, my first one was good. The first one we bought as a business was a horrible deal. We rushed into it. We didn't get all the proper inspections done. We didn't negotiate the way we were supposed to negotiate. There should have been some things fixed and that we demanded. We didn't demand it because we just wanted to get in the property. It was a commercial real estate property. It was churning money. I did all the numbers. The math looked good. I said, we just got to get this, fellas. And we got in without doing our due diligence as much as we should have. And we were young too and stupid. And it ended up being our worst property. But I remember even when that property was making money, we took our time with the next few because we already had that income stream coming in. So it's like, hey, if we have to wait a month to get the right property, that's okay, because this first property is still making money, baby, right? So in backtesting, that changes because we make these mistakes of skipping over stuff or changing stuff and adjusting stuff, the stuff that all you guys said you do, right? Me, hands in the air, right? The second time through or the third time through, when it's not as much urgency, you start looking at things a different way. And I remember Darren taught me this because he did this. We told him this when he invented the cipher, or found the cipher. He said, we said to him, go back through your testing, because he had a little bit of bias to him. Like he found a pattern. It's cool. We said, go back through your testing and only look for losers. And that's something that stuck with me to this day. So when I backtest now, and I'd recommend you guys doing this, even in a newer state, try to find as many losers as possible. Now you're asking yourself, Akil, why would I want to find losers? Like I'm doing this thing to prove that my system and my strategy is profitable. Why would I want to find losers? I want to find winners. Well, if you search for losers, because we have a natural tendency to overlook losers and find winners, right? If you search for losers and you recognize all the risks, right? I love that you said that, Paul. You search for losers. You recognize all the risk. You ensure that you found every single loser, even close call ones. Loser. Count them in. If your numbers are still good at the end of that, after recognizing all the losers, maybe ones that are borderline, you count them as break even and not winners. If you can survive the worst case scenario, you've got a good strategy, right? You've got a good strategy. If you can survive the worst case scenario and in the back of your mind, you knew that you took all the risk into account, you may have even over-risked in your testing, and it still turned out good. Ooh, you got something cooking, baby. You got something cooking. So I certainly recommend doing that. Orsi says, when I was getting towards the end of my back testing, I was always waiting for losers. As it took me long to log trades, I just want to finish to have another pair behind. Yeah, that's another interesting thing about back testing too. It's like, I always found it to be like this. There are phases of back testing. It's very similar to like the phases, I guess, of a relationship. Well, maybe not, depending on what type of relationships you go on. But like you're in your honeymoon phase at first, where you're all excited. You're like, oh man, this is new, it's shiny, it's cool. I'm testing, this is awesome, right? And then like after your honeymoon phase, like halfway through your back testing, you're kind of in that like depression phase where you're like, this is boring. She wears the same thing every day. Or how many times are you gonna cook chicken for dinner, Akil? Right? You're just all this like, it gets kind of boring. The spark is gone. And you're just like, back testing, logging in, Gartley's 127 winner, blah, 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 blah. And in that stage, you make a lot of mistakes because you kind of get on autopilot and you start overlooking certain things, right? Because you're doing that. And then the last phase, this depends on the person. For some people, you get re-energized because it's like you see the finish line, and especially if you have something that's working, like you want to get there. But on the other hand, that could be a negative because, like Orsi mentioned, sometimes you just want to get the job done. So if you know, like, man, I only got one more year left, then you kind of rush through that last year because you're not too much worried about like logging winners and losers. You just want to get done so you can get to the next pair. You just want to complete the task, and that can be dangerous as well. So yeah. Back testing is rough. Yeah, back testing is rough. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. You know I love feedback, so do me a favor in the comment section here on YouTube or in the little Q&A section here on Spotify. I want you to list some of the common mistakes that you've made in trading. I think it'd be awesome for our other traders to kind of see what's out there, see what other struggles you guys have had, and that way they can at least jot it down and be aware of it when they get to that part of their journey. So again, if you're listening on Spotify, there's a Q&A section below this. If you're on YouTube, just hit that comment section and type it in there. And until next time, plan your trade your plan. Take care.